Welcome, Sojourners. You have found yourself a cozy place here at Sojourners Awake. I'm Jonathan, and this is our production of The Bookish and the Brave. Like you, the Sojourners are on a mission. Sometimes they face conflict and even danger. And in this short mini-series, we will meet certain characters from Baldtop Library. They are not the bookends. They are a different form of strike team. In the last episode, you met Dahren'L, the warden. In this story, Dahren'L leads a strike team to rescue a certain choral master, a chanter, who has been kidnapped from Baldtop Library. This was a one-shot we did together, and who knows, maybe it'll turn into a two-shot. After you're done listening to this episode, don't forget to anticipate the next episode as they conclude the adventure. And so for now, I present to you Fires in the Swamp. Okay, so for tonight's adventure, Sarah, I would like you to give a brief introduction to your character.
You would start with me. Well, I'm Oleander Pierce. I stand about 6 foot. I have dark hair and a great physique and a killer smile. What, my eyes? Don't worry about my eyes. Anyway, I was born and raised in Bochen, and have had the esteemed privilege of seeing the world on several privately funded archaeological excavations, which I've come back from with several small fortunes and an excellent collection of antiquated arts. Where is that collection? Well, if I told you, I'd have to kill you. I'm just kidding. Kinda. Anyway, an unfortunate on-the-job accident has put a pause on further historical discoveries, while I deal with this whole possessed by a snake demon impression I leave people with, which is completely unfounded and unfair. It is just a few copper scales around my face and some serpentine viper eyes. Nothing to get in a tizzy over. I'm a perfectly normal, completely above average, pure-blooded human with psychic abilities. And I can see magic. But otherwise, I am totally normal. I've been here at Baldtop for a few months now, working as a warden because no one bothered to do a criminal background check. Not that that would have yielded anything, of course. But if it were an issue, I'd just like to point out that the best person to enforce the law is someone who is well acquainted with how to break the law. So yeah, that's basically me, and I'm looking forward to making your acquaintance.
Wonderful. Ted, if you would give a brief introduction to your character.
Ooh, that was a lot to follow. So Milo is a typically sized halfling. Milo left his family really early in life. He had the bug to travel and explore and do some different things in his life. So he left, spent a lot of time out in the forest, and eventually made his way to Bochen, where he lived in the seedier part of town. And when the, we'll call it the Bastille Revolution happened, he found it a great opportunity to increase his fortunes. And so he had already been involved in some shady dealings, but he made habit of following the goons into the different noble houses and picking up the secret door prizes that the goons were not able to find. So he collected quite a few trophies and nice things that he then turned into money and lived a very nice life that way until one day he was in the Steeple Bottom Manor, and the goons came back, and they weren't supposed to do that, and they hadn't done that before, so they saw him. Fortunately, he had an alarm set, so they triggered it, and he was able to get out, but not before they saw him. So it became a little bit of a manhunt, and after dodging folks a little bit in Bochen for a few weeks, he decided that was enough, and the heat was getting too high, so he took off back into the forest, eventually made his way to Balltop, where he bought his way in with the family story of the Steeplebottoms, that book, and found a job as a maintenance worker, which was excellent for him. And surprisingly, he didn't pull any games or jobs in Balltop, at least not yet. But word got out that he was who he was, and he had a little bit of a reputation. So people found out, and then they also found out the double whammy, which was that Basile was after him. And so the wardens picked him up, gave him a nice contained home for the time being, and I'd say he's been in there for maybe the better part of a week. He's happy. He's not causing any problems. He's making friends with the guards. He's very likable guy, and so he's hanging out with the guards. They share a little bit nicer food with him, and he's having a good time, hoping that this will blow over soon and he can get back to maybe making a legitimate life or not.
That's exciting. Mike, if you would introduce your character.
So this is Dahren'L Vitoris. He's been introduced in the last one shot. He is a half-elf fighter, roughly the age of 33. He is from a nomadic tribe of half species. His mother was human, his father was elf, and they joined a community called the Yatena, which means the joined, and they live in the high plain region in the fields. And Dahren'L has been at Balltop for a little bit now, serving as a warden. And his primary purpose in life at this point is exploring the world and gaining more insights into various cultures, that he may bring this knowledge back to his people to share with them and to grow.
So my character's name is Abel Stouthart. He is Stouthart by name, and he is a Stouthart by nature. He is a brave individual. He's a Hinfolk, and he loves to craft. He's about 3 feet tall and 2 feet wide. He loves his food. He does not skip second breakfast. He makes sure that he gets every meal he can. But you can tell underneath his elegant robes, as he's a bit of a craftsman, seems well liked. He has had to restart his life a couple times as he has been moved on, sometimes of his own volition, sometimes he's been forced out, but he has met lots of new friends along the way, but currently he only has one to his name, and that's a gentleman he met traveling who's staying at Balltop. And so he is now on the quest for an elusive muse of his, a female by the name of Bertie Cartwright. He has managed to procure a statue of said Bertie and wants to deliver it as a gift to her, as she has inspired him to a new life that he never thought he would have.
And so for now, our story continues. The bell rang at 2 a.m. The cedar spread its light across the sky, allowing the fey blessings to descend upon Balltop Library. Somewhere in the distance, an elf prays out loud, singing a blessing to her ancestors. Kalan walks briskly up the stairs, outside of his robes, and he moves with purpose. He raps loudly upon the door and then bothers not for a response, and simply enters. Dahren'L, at this time, how does he find you?
You said it's 2 a.m.?
Correct.
Yeah, so Dahren'L would be lying in his bed, on his back, with his scimitar nearby and his glaive perched against the wall. And upon entry, he hears the door, the rap first, and then the door open, and immediately he shoots up and grabs his sword and is kind of standing at the ready.
Stay your hand, Dahren'L. It's Kalan.
Oh,
Wait.
Mr. Cologne.
Who is snoring in the corner?
This is, I beg your pardon, sir. This is a friend that I have made on travel. His name is Abel Stouthart.
Listen, we have an urgent mission. You must come at once. We found Humessa. She has been found. As you know, she's been missing for now a week.
You can't run.
What is he going on about?
I beg your pardon, sir. He's got an infatuation for one Bertie Cartwright.
Oh, that's very odd. Listen, this is not a request, this is an order. Gather the things immediately. You're going on a strike team and leading them to pull and excavate Humessa from sheer danger.
Yes, sir. I will gather my things now and be ready within the hour.
I will give you a minute. I'll stand outside.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so just quickly, he's pretty much ready to go. He doesn't really wear bed clothing. So he'll throw his breastplate on, his cloak over his shoulders, grab his rucksack and his glaive and sword, and he's gonna kick Abel and wake him up. Abel, I have urgent need to leave in this instance. Will you be fine here without me?
That was a little rude.
Time is of the essence, my friend. I apologize.
I'll go with you. I don't know anyone here. Let's go.
Sounds
Right.
good.
Well, if you are going to come, then we must be leaving right now. Grab your things. Meet me outside.
Right away.
Kalan sees the two of you walk outside and he just shakes his head and looks at you, Dahren'L, with inquisitive eyes. But then he quickly says, "Come on, let's attend to one other." And together you walk quickly down the hall to the room of Oleander Pierce. In like fashion, Kalan knocks on the door and then waits for a response. I don't know Oleander very well.
Yes, I can't say that I've had the pleasure of being introduced myself, sir.
Oleander, are you awake? Open the door. It's Kalan.
Beat of silence passes. Maybe hear some rustling, some footsteps. Clunk, clunk, clunk. Come to the door. The door cracks open just enough so you can see half of his face, his gold eye with the slit pupil narrowed down. Do you have any idea what time it is?
I do. It is time for success. We have scryed successfully and found the location of Choral Master Humessa.
Wonderful. This can't wait until later morning?
It's very simple. In the scry, a pool of blood was at her feet. She was tied to a chair. She is not achieving her meditation vacation as she has set out. Something has happened. She has not returned for days. We believe she's in danger.
Pool of blood. Got it. Should have started with that. Door. Slam shut.
I don't know Oleander very well, but I understand his skills are exactly what you need, Dahren'L, to lead this expedition. Are you sure Abel is going to be okay and not a hindrance?
Dahren'L side glances to Abel, thinks about it for a quick second and looks back. I'm sure he will be just fine, sir.
That's all right. Oleander, we do not have much time. I always feel weird saying that name.
I'm coming. Maybe a minute or two comes by and door flings open. He's dressed in leathers, got a bag slung over his back, and his hair is just all mussed and rustled. And where it's pulled back over his eye, you can see those copper scales at his hairline. All right, where are we going?
There is one other we need, but he's not on this floor. We have to go into the dungeon.
Lead the way, boss man.
And Kalan does exactly that, leading you down to the depths of the Bald Top dungeon. Here, criminals and people of question are kept in secret for the information they know or the crimes they have committed, or sometimes simply seeking sanctuary. You head down a couple of stone stairs, and the lights dim except for the torches that are lighting up the hallway. You find a clean but dark cell opens to reveal a shadowy character behind the bars. Milo, how do they find you?
You hear some very, very faint playing on a flute. It's really quiet, but it's pretty. And he's just playing in the corner, and he looks up. He says, "A little late for a visit, isn't it, Kalan?"
Listen, Milo, correct me if I'm wrong, but you are familiar with the forest near Greenfields.
You know I am.
That is why we are releasing you tonight. Your trial is still set in place, but for the meantime, Dahren'L is leading his associates on a strike team, and to be quite honest, they will need a guide getting through the forest.
Well, I don't know Dahren'L, but you know I haven't done anything wrong here, so I'm not quite sure what this trial is, but and you know that Basile is looking for me, so why would I want to go out there again?
Kalan looks down at his pocket watch, taps his foot very impatiently.
Sorry.
He leans to whisper to Dahren'L, "Can you navigate the forests of Greenfield into the swamp on your own?"
You said that time is of the essence, sir. I feel as though I might be able to, but our best option would be to have someone who actually knows the way.
Milo, and Kalan stoops down to get to your eye level. If you were to help out on this expedition, Baldtop would be incredibly grateful. I may not have the authority to give any request, but let's say I could at least put it in motion. What's your price?
Well, I think being returned to some sort of respectable job here at Baldtop would be a good start. And I think 100 gold would be nice. And you see his eyes start to wander, and he looks over Kalan's head, because what he didn't see when Kalan was standing was Oleander back there. And a little glint of recognition comes across Milo's eyes, and he winks. And then he looks back at Kalan and says, "Yeah, respectable job and 100 gold should do. I'll go."
It's very generous of you. Dahren'L, like I said, time is of the essence. Assemble your strike team. You have little time. Move as quickly as possible. Here is the coordinates for the scrying location. And he hands it to you, Dahren'L, a small silver disc. How do you lead your team?
Yes, sir, Kalan. We will make haste. All right, everyone. It seems that a mission is upon us, and Baldtop has great need of success. I hope you find your wits about you, because it seems as though we are not walking into an easy party. Are you guys ready for this journey?
Are you going to talk like this the whole time?
Most assuredly.
I'm with you. Whatever you want.
Looking back at Milo, he just kind of shrugs and says, "We'll see." And then he's like, "Let's go."
The party moves quickly through the early morning light. By now, 3 o'clock in the morning, you are pushing past, cutting across the corkscrew highway, moving over the foothills of Bochen into the southern region towards Greenfield. The grasslands give way to hill, and the hills give way to groves of trees. Soon you are pressed deeper through the forest, even as Kalan said. Following the scrying path on the silver disc. Suddenly, the forest becomes threatening, densely packed, and with no discernible direction towards the swamp except a single beacon from the scrying vessel. As your party breaks for a short rest and a camp, Dahren'L, how do you appear and how do you proceed?
He's standing, looking in the direction that we're about to go, and he's got the plate in his hand, making sure that he's knowing the direction. He's got his glaive, using kind of as like a walking staff, scimitar by his belt, and he's gonna swing back. All right, Milo. I'm told that you know these swamps. Can you lead us through?
Of course I can. Are you guys ready to take the harder road? Might be hard for you tall guys, but the little scrying orb's going that way. I think if we veer off to the left a little bit, you'll find that a little bit better path.
Dahren'L's gonna look at the other two and, well, I'm not going to take counsel here. I will simply believe you to know the way, so if you would mind taking point.
Let's go. Try to keep up.
Milo, make your survival check. DC is 11.
It's still a 10.
Okay. You move through the forest, marking tree and brush, and soon enough, only Milo realizes he is heading in the wrong direction. Even the small scrying disc has not given off enough of a deviation in the direction to alert anyone. Abel, while you're trudging along through this forest, how do you respond?
So Abel's stomach is growling. As he says, he doesn't miss second breakfast, but I think he missed first and second at this point. He's kind of hitting himself for he should have stayed asleep, but you know, he only knows Dahren'L and he wants to stay close to him. So he is keeping an eye on Dahren'L, watching his back, but he's definitely trying to keep out of the trees and the bushes. It's nice clothes, so you don't want to get them too tagged or torn. But he is following along and trying to look at the footsteps of Milo and kind of see where he's going.
You may make a perception check. Oleander, as you're following Milo and the rest of the party, how are you responding to this trick?
Well, since Milo is pulling away, taking point, I'm actually gonna kind of hurry to catch up with him. Is that Milo Hinderfellow? I thought that was you down there.
Hello, Oleander. I haven't seen you for a while. I have to say that if you hadn't missed out on the last trip into Steeplebottom Manor, I may not be a fugitive at this point, but that's neither here nor there. I'm happy for you and your whatever endeavors you were doing.
What can I say? I had a bigger calling. I didn't even know there was a revolution stirring, and then I come back and the city's on fire and the noble houses are falling. How am I supposed to peddle off art when there aren't any nobles to buy them?
Good point, but there were some nice pieces of art to grab, and you missed out on that.
Oh, I don't think I missed out on anything. Hey, we should, when you get your nice, respectable job back, We should do some trading. See what you've got, see what I've got.
It's always good by me.
Just between, former colleagues, you're not playing something, are you?
Oh, for this?
Yeah, because, this is currently my only job. I'd like not to lose it along with my life.
No. I do admit that it has been a while since I've been out on this side of the forest, and I think we may have veered off path a little bit, but I'll correct that momentarily.
Well, whatever you say.
Dahren'L, you see that Milo and Oleander have taken point and are conversating. Meanwhile, Abel is hanging towards the back with you in the very bare middle at this point. How are you responding at this time?
Seeing the communication happen up ahead, kind of just storing it in my mind. These guys know each other, or at least they're really quick to make acquaintances. And I look back at Abel. Abel, my friend, you have not worn the proper clothing for this journey.
Well, I don't believe I got warning that there was going to be a journey, but it's okay. I've got you back. I'm going to follow you, and I don't quite trust those two. You've got some kind of snake, and the other one seems more of a snake, just doesn't look like it.
Now, Abel, we cannot be presumptuous about the acts of a person until we have seen how they behave.
I didn't see an axe on them, but all right.
Hey, tall guy and chubby, we're gonna veer off to the right a little bit. Try to keep up.
Milo, make your next survival check.
I rolled a 4 for an 11.
Fantastic. That also matches the 3 that Abel rolled earlier on his perception check. At this point, Dahren'L, you recognize that you and Abel have been separated by about 50 feet from Milo and Oleander. As their figures are disappearing in the forest, you hear them calling to veer off to the left. And then I would like everyone to make a perception check, high number, winner.
It's a 7 for me.
7 for Abel, 17 for Oleander. And how fitting, Dahren'L, you get 20. Dahren'L, you hear a fluttering reptilian clucking sound calling across the forest. You recognize this as a velociraptor hunt. Right before, 2 converge on you, gaining your attention on the left. You hear a rustling in the brushes on your right as 4 raptors proceed to pounce on Dahren'L and Abel Stouthart. Everyone roll initiative. Oh, hello, Sojourners. This is Jonathan with Sojourners Awake. If you are enjoying this podcast, don't forget to share with a friend who enjoys quality storytelling. And leave a rating and review on your favorite podcasting platform so that it can help the Sojourners battle their way through this velociraptor hunt. And so for now, our story continues. Milo, somehow you are the first to respond, though you did not hear the noise. To how are you the first to respond in this situation?
Well, Milo starts veering right, and then he realizes that he was commissioned to take these guys with him, and if he doesn't keep the party together, he's probably not going to get his job, he's probably not going to get his gold. So he turns around to look for those guys, and he can smell in the forest that the atmosphere, the animal atmosphere, has changed, and he's spent a lot of time out here, so he can tell that there's something else going on, and he knows that he's a little further away from those guys. So he's going to look at Oleander and say, we should probably get back to those two, and he's going to start walking back that way.
And at that moment, you see the raptors attack. Anything else on your turn?
He's going to pull out his 2 short swords, and he's going to just keep walking. He's not going to run.
Dahren'L, your turn. You have 2 converging on your left and 2 on your right.
Dahren'L immediately puts the tip of his glaive toward the ground while simultaneously with his left hand pulling the bag off of the blade, and yells out, "Abel, prepare yourself." And have they like actually leapt, or are they like approaching?
They are leaping this turn.
Are they all 4 leaping?
2 on your left, 2 on your right.
Oh wow, dog pile. Okay. He's going to kind of step back toward Abel's position, and he's going to hold his action so that when one comes within range, he's going to use a precision attack maneuver as soon as it gets right at him.
And at that moment, the 4 raptors move into position. 2 against you, Abel. Abel, of 14 and a 16 to hit.
16 hits.
9 points of damage, 1 slashes you on the side. 2 against you, Dahren'L. A 10 and a 16.
16 hits.
7 points of damage as 1 bites you on the shoulder. You may take your action.
Okay, so as the one that bites the shoulder, the precision attack was on the one that missed.
Armor class is 13.
14 to hit.
That does. Roll your damage.
So that is an 8 plus 4, so 12 points.
An instant kill. You slash through it and the velociraptor falls to the ground. Next up in the initiative, Oleander.
Always gotta be something on these missions. I'm going to raise my hand as I am striding up a little bit faster behind Milo, but I don't want to get close to these things. And as I raise my hand, a glowing violet dagger will appear, and I'm going to hurl it for a ranged attack on one of my side knives.
Armor class 13.
I had exactly 13.
Well done.
So, do I get sneak attack?
Yes, you do.
17 points of psychic damage.
Wow, you watch this velociraptor begins to extend its neck, call out in agonizing pain. Its eyes roll back in its head. It seizes, falls to the ground.
There's one. I'll go essay because in my bonus action, I can throw another psychic blade.
Wow.
For less damage.
2 raptors dead on the ground.
So yeah, one goes down for Dahren'L, one goes down for
Yeah.
me. That's 2. Let's go for 3. And my left hand will then throw another one. 16 to hit.
Well done.
And so it's 5 points of psychic damage to that one.
It seizes up in like fashion, but shakes off its pain and looks at Abel very angrily. Speaking of, Abel, how do you like to do your turn?
But Abel's a little bit in shock. He's been a bit of an adventurer before, but he's not used to getting hit. He's usually in the background. So there's a little spark starting to flame inside of him, of a little anger of seeing his friend Dahren'L getting bit, his clothes getting ripped, and he's thinking to himself, what would Birdie do? And so he kind of shakily reaches to his hip, grabs his war pick, and then swings at the one that just got hit by a psychic knife. And he gets a 10.
Ooh, swing and a miss.
Probably lands face first in the dirt.
All right, top of the round, Milo, strutting down the path.
Milo's going to continue to walk. You said we were 50 feet away, so his distance should get him to the raptors, and he's going to swing both of his short swords at the raptor that has not been hit yet. That is a 22 and a 19 to hit.
Both swords come slashing at the raptor.
So the first one would be 10 points of damage.
Instant kill.
Then is the other one close enough?
It is.
So then he'll whack the other one for 8 points of damage.
And that's enough. Milo, please describe how you finish this off clean and polished.
So Milo, at 3 feet tall, casually walks up, cleaves one of them off, cuts its leg off completely, and it just falls over and bleeds out. And then with the second sword, he comes back across and he digs maybe halfway into the side of this second raptor and pulls his sword through, and they both fall to the ground. And he just looks at Dahren'L and Abel and says, "Try to keep up, please." And he turns and walks away.
As the forest hushes, Milo, you suddenly recall the location. As you turn that direction, Dahren'L follows your line of sight towards the location of the scrying beacon, and a louder ping echoes upon the silver disc, indicating the correct direction. The four of you press on past the dense jungle until it becomes boggy swamp. Your feet start mucking and sticking to the ground. Flies begin infesting and mosquitoes buzz around. An acidic stench fills your nostrils. Strange animals call out in distance, whether for predatory creatures, mating calls, or simply cries of loneliness, you cannot tell. As you muck through the swamp, each of you make an athletics check to pull your body through the water. Oleander.
I rolled a 6, but I'm going to use one of my psychic die to add a d6 to my roll as I get stuck in the squelching mud. That's only going to bring me to an 8.
Oleander, as you're failing to get through this swamp, how do you appear?
Muddy.
You fall face first and your clothes are completely covered in this mud, and a horrible stench clings to your clothing at this point. Something necrotic and acidic.
I hate swamps. I roll over my back. It's like Fresno all over again. Pull myself up and just kind of brush off.
Abel, in like fashion, you've taken a seemingly shortcut and walked right into a little bit of quicksand. You're having a hard time getting unstuck, requiring one of your comrades to pull you out in some fashion. You're descending at probably a millimeter an hour. It's not a urgent matter, but you cannot unstick yourself. Dahren'L and Milo, with a 17 and an 18, you're progressing through the swamp water quite well, taking the correct paths to avoid this acidic and necrotic stench from clinging to your clothes. The three of you who are not stuck, how would you proceed to assist Abel?
Milo's going to turn around and say, "Well, it looks like Oleander got dirty. I think Chubby's stuck. Can you, somebody should help him." And then he's going to just try to keep up.
Missed you too, Milo.
Grab his rope from his pack. Walk over to Abel. Don't listen to him, Abel. Yeah, catch and toss the rope to him.
And Abel's, he's just, he's downcast, but he's trying not to get too beat up himself. He's, you can see behind his eyes, there's an anger that is building as he's now missed breakfast. His clothes are muddy and torn. He is just getting slowly worked up. And now this Milo cat, who's not much bigger than him, but a little bit skinnier, is giving him a hard time. So he is grabbing that rope and he pulls it a little harder than he probably should have, but he to get out, and he quickly tries to catch up.
Dahren'L, Oleander assists you in pulling Abel out. So if you would make your athletics check with advantage to pull out Abel's Stouthart. You're going for a 15 or higher.
I rolled a 14 on my first roll and a nat 1 on my second, so I will go with the 14 plus 6, so 20.
You do. Slipping and sliding, you pull Stouthart out and he pops like a wine cork from a bottle, sailing through the air. and lands in a pile of mud.
Gritting his teeth, he gives a thanks. I promise I won't be so much of a burden from now on. Let's get moving.
Hey man, don't sweat it. I got muddy too.
Everyone make a nature check, high number winner. Oleander, as you smell Abel, as you lean in closely to talk to him, you smell the acidic stench on him and recognize this as some kind of natural toxin. The four of you are now progressing through the swamp with Oleander and Abel taking up the rear. How do you proceed?
Do I perceive that smell on myself as well?
Now you do.
Gotcha. Well, I didn't notice before because I'm actually quite resistant to poisons these days. But, hey, you feeling all right, Abel? I'm going to start kind of brushing off his shoulder.
Abel, you do not feel all right.
So he's sizzling, but he is also resistant to poison from growing up as a hardy, stout halfling. And so he can feel it sizzling on his skin, but it's nothing like the sizzling of his anger inside. So as his clothes slowly disintegrate, he's brushing it off too.
So that means you can't take poison damage? Is that what that means?
I mean, we're resistant. So what it means for me is I have advantage on not getting poison. Like I roll my advantage check against it. Constitution save, that's what it is. And then if I do take poison damage, it's halved.
Same.
So I'm resistant.
Okay, same.
So
Okay, that's exactly what
it still hurts, but
it still hurts. So Abel, as you brush this off, I need you and Oleander to make a Constitution saving throw with advantage because of your poison resistance feature.
you know, it is still a curse.
You got 24.
That's a success.
Oh, that is a 19 plus 2. That's 21.
You're progressing well. You smell terrible, both of you. However, for who knows what reason, you're able to withstand this vile stench and sizzling on your skin. At this point, you do take 2 points of poison damage, which has already been halved for you.
Oh man, we gotta get out of these clothes. We get out of this swamp soon. Should be a brook or something to clean off in.
Abel, as you slough off some of the clothing on your shoulder bearing your skin, you do notice that that part of your shoulder doesn't sting as much now that the moist clothing has been removed.
Is there some clean water around I can dunk in?
You can make a survival check if you are looking for that.
That's a 20. Not natural.
You do sense some fresh water surveying the land. You know that if you do go off course a little bit, or convince your allies to go off course, you could wash this poison off of you.
Hang on a minute, I'll catch up. Before I go though, I'm going to look at Dahren'L and be like, now don't panic. And then the next thing I say is going to be telepathic in his head. And so for 3 hours, I have selected Dahren'L and Milo to have a telepathic link with. So yeah, the next person is like, I can keep communication this way. And I got a line to Milo. I'll catch up. And I'm going to go off towards the water. Abel, I'll get you back if you want to come.
Yeah, I'll come.
Dahren'L, your team is dissecting. One direction following Oleander, the other direction Milo trudging through the forest, trudging through the swamp, leading you in the direction of Choral Master Humessa. How do you respond?
Milo, hold on a moment. Oleander, where are you going?
Telepathically, I'll say, we got to get out of this swamp muck. It's burning us. I said I'll catch up. I can get directions from Milo.
Abel, you appear to be going with Oleander's. Is this your intent?
Yeah, I'll go with the snake.
Hey, that's rude.
Oh.
I don't bite.
Milo, two of our companions are in need. I feel as though we should hold for now until they have returned.
I feel like all of our companions are in need. I should say all of my companions are in need, but I'll wait. Don't have a choice.
How thoughtful of you.
I'll say in Milo's head telepathically, which he knows I have that ability already, Jess, if we get separated, I'll catch up. And I'm trudging off to that spring of fresh water to dunk myself.
I know you will. I trust you. I don't know about these other two. It's just about 150 feet over there on the side of those, that big grove of trees.
All right. See you there. Well, you might want to make sure Dahren'L knows where you're at. He seems like that uppity type.
We'll go slow.
Every story comes to an ending, so for now we must conclude. Thank you for listening, Sojourners. Your attention will not go unrewarded, and we look forward to continuing this adventure. If you enjoyed this background music and ambiance, you should visit Tabletop Audio. Find them at www.tabletopaudio.com. And take the time to sojourn with us. For articles on playing your very own Dungeons & Dragons games, visit www.sojournersawake.com. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. But no matter how you choose to sojourn with us, as always, may your story continue.